Are you a scaling SaaS founder?
Ready to make the leap from leading a team to leading an organization? Join us each week as we refill your think tank with actionable tips and strategies from great business minds you know and those you don't know yet. This is SaaS Fuel with your host, 5-time entrepreneur, SaaS founder, and globetrotting adventurer, Jeff Maines.
Welcome back to the SaaS Fuel Podcast, where pricing isn't just a tag, it's a canvas creatively designed to match value with artistry. I'm your host, Jeff Maines. I help B2B SaaS founders like you grow from traction to scale. Here, growth is more than just numbers. It's about crafting a future-proof company, premium valuation, and leaders who build a business of significance while living epic, adventurous lives. Listening to your customers may be the worst thing for growth. Are you relying solely on customer feedback to shape your business strategy or your product roadmap? They may be leading you down the wrong path. A couple of days ago, I gave 3 keys for creating a winning product roadmap and talked about some big mistakes that I made. In this crazy fast world of SaaS, it's easy to fall into the trap that thinking customer feedback is the ultimate compass for success. But what if we told you that blindly following customer opinions could be holding you back from true innovation and growth? Hang with me, and then you can tell me I'm wrong in the comments. First things first, let's address the elephant in the room. Customers don't always know what they want. They might think they do, but often their feedback is based on their current needs and experiences, not on the groundbreaking solutions they haven't even imagined yet. It's where you come in. We always hear the Henry Ford quote about the car, where he said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have asked for a faster horse. I thought the iPad was a stupid idea. Who would want a giant phone? At that time, we all wanted smaller phones. But, I figured it out. Second, focusing too much on customer feedback can lead to a reactive rather than a proactive approach to business. You end up playing catch up, trying to please everyone instead of boldly forging ahead with your own vision. You set out to solve a problem, right? Please tell me you set out to solve a problem. Yes? Well, does the feature request solve the problem? Does it solve an adjacent problem? Is it in line with your mission? And what doesn't get done in order to do the thing that was requested? That's a big one. And this is really the biggest one. It's the third one, and where I really screwed up. And that is that not all customer feedback is created equal. I'm not the person to ask about the iPad, but like I said, I figured it out. I got on board. That you might be hearing from a vocal minority while neglecting the needs of your silent majority. Basing decisions on skewed data can send you down a rabbit hole of misguided priorities. Sometimes those really vocal customers are not necessarily the best ones. Several times I have listened to a particular client who knew it all and had to have the magic thing, whatever that was. And then we built the magic thing, and then no one used it, not even them, because now they wanted a new magic thing. And that was problem number one. And it really reminded me of an old Simpsons episode. Homer Simpson, do you remember the episode where his long lost brother, the car builder, got Homer to design the car for the common man? It's a great episode. You have to check that out on YouTube if you don't. But you can guess how that turned out. It was crazy. I remember the horn was a funny one. I want a horn button here, 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 because you can never find a horn when you need one. Yeah, just like we'd all design a car, right? And it was ridiculous looking. It was overpriced and completely non-functional. And this is the same rabbit hole that I've been down. And that really sucks. The bigger issue is that I hadn't clearly or narrowly defined our ICP. The vocal majority was not clearly our ICP, but I didn't know that. They were just big and paying us a lot of money. And so I figured we just had to build whatever it was that they wanted. But the thing that they wanted wasn't the thing that everybody else wanted, because everyone wanted different things, because we had not clearly defined our ICP. It's like trying to get 10 people to agree on a restaurant for dinner, but times 100. So what's the alternative? I think it's time to adopt, if that's the road that you're down, or maybe have gone down like I did, Maybe it's time to adopt a more strategic approach to innovation and growth. And that means balancing customer feedback with your own expertise, market research, and forward thinking vision. Should we listen to our customers and their feedback? Absolutely, by all means. I advise that all the time. When you know your ICP, and those are the people you want to be talking to. You want to get their opinions, but don't let their opinions drown out your own intuition and knowledge. Those things are together. Use feedback as a starting point, not the end all be all. And trust in your ability to innovate and lead your industry. In short, customer feedback from the right customers is incredibly valuable, but it's not the whole picture. Make sure you hear from your ICP, from the silent majority. Let them upvote, ask questions, push back, clarify what they're trying to accomplish. Don't just take requests at face value. We get all kinds of crazy requests, but dig in, invest time, get clear on really what they're looking for. What are they trying to accomplish? And in the end, the result from a collaborative approach will be infinitely better. Don't just do what they ask, do what they mean, and embrace a more holistic approach to business strategy, one that combines customer insights with your own vision and expertise. That is how to truly unlock the full potential of your business and leave your mark on the world. Our founder on Tuesday was John Coniface, CEO of Integrate. He leads the development of advanced program management software for cutting-edge machines with a systems engineering approach. We talked about building a SaaS at the edge of two worlds, innovative space tech and legacy government bureaucracy, founder challenges, and his experience at 3 space unicorns. Our expert guest last week was Sandy Rise, a thought leader and author in the domain of data engineering. Sandy is the lead engineer on the Dagster project, which is an open source data orchestration platform. We went deep into data pipelines, data orchestration, and making data-driven decisions. Can I say data like 10 more times? Our current guest today is John Sarver, executive consultant and innovation strategist at SaaS Logic. He seamlessly transitioned from a distinguished U.S. Navy career to mastering strategic growth and operational excellence in the tech world. An adventurer at heart, John's experiences summiting mountains and navigating whitewater enrich his dynamic approach to revolutionizing business automation and analysis. With his global perspective and infectious enthusiasm, John is dedicated to helping businesses thrive in today's fast-paced market. Welcome, an adventurer, John Sarver. Hey, John, welcome to SaaS Fuel.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me on today's episode.
Tell me a little bit about your background and how you came up with the idea behind SaaS Logic.
Yeah, thank you for that question. My background is a fun one. I like to start with, I'm a Midwestern guy, born and raised in Ohio. Grew up near Cleveland, went to school in Southern Ohio, and then after college, I decided to join the military. So I always bring that up because I think it's what really honed my mind and my brain and how it works. The military structure of how do you get A, B, and C done as efficiently as possible, working within the teamwork of the enterprise of the ship. And then once I got out of the military, I had a great time. Highly recommend everyone join or explore their options if they choose within the military ecosystem, both civilian and military roles. But once that time was done for me, I came back and spent time working with Fortune 100 companies, large companies with big bureaucracies, and quickly realized that I am better suited for smaller teams and bigger challenges with smaller teams, and got into the startup world. And over the time, found myself here at a company called Esteemed Software that built a product called SaaS Logic that is a revenue management, subscription management platform. And the genesis for it was, at Esteemed, we do IT services. So we build products for customers. And we saw this recurring theme that people were struggling with generating the invoices that they wanted. They were being forced into billing models that the revenue management platform could handle instead of having the revenue management platform bill what they wanted to. So some money was being left on the table. So our founder and CEO, Rao Chajarla, being the technologist at heart, literally just grabbed some guys on the team and said, let's build something better. And that's the genesis of SaaS Logic. A bunch of engineers sitting around a room dealing with business problems that we've seen through our customer-facing side at Expeed. And then the platform has grown from there, and we've got customers on board that are giving us new products and feedback ideas. And that's probably the most exciting part, not to get too far ahead, but I love hearing about what people would like to see, because that is where we came from. People had the access to Stripe and these other tools, but didn't like what they were seeing. So they started asking us to build things. So
that's really good. And I love the comment about having to adapt your pricing model or your pricing structure to what the software will accommodate. Because I've seen that time and time again,
correct.
whereas like, well, the billing system doesn't really do it, so we can't price it that way. It's like, you got to find something better.
Yeah. And we have an engineering led team. I don't know if that's a concept, like PLG is a thing, product led growth. We're almost like an engineering led growth. Maybe I'm coining a term with you today, Jeff, that we can take to market. But what I love about it is our engineers love solving problems. Like, they wake up every morning hoping for Jeff Maines to have an idea that is so crazy that SaaS Logic can't do it today, but they'll figure out how to do it. Just got off of a call actually right before this with a gentleman in the real estate sector. And it was an amazing call. And his problem is one that we hadn't seen before. And it's also one that Stripe isn't handling very well for him. And so it's just a great opportunity for us to all geek out, nerd out around a whiteboard, see if we can build it, and then ultimately deliver a solution that we know won't only work for just him, but anybody that's in his situation can utilize our platform then.
It makes a lot of sense. A lot of companies are using Stripe, which one is crazy expensive and pretty limited because you're right. It's a payments platform. It's not really a great billing engine or billing platform. It's an afterthought that's bolted on.
Yeah.
So do you see a lot of transition from Stripe to SaaS Logic?
It's so transitioning is hard. Once you're in an ecosystem, getting people to be willing to uplift and move their entire business from A to B is very difficult. So we found more success looking at people that are early on in their Stripe journey or early on in their revenue management and payments and really trying to get them in early. We love working with accelerators. We love working with startups. Again, startups warm my heart. I love talking with founders that have the courage to go out and build. And so it's a passion for mine to support them. So our kind of ICP right now really are smaller companies that have yet to heavily invest in a singular ecosystem, whether it's Stripe or ChargeBee or Paddle or any of the other competitors in the space. Once you get ingrained, you get your workflows tied in, especially when you start getting into some of the credit card management aspects of the payment gateways, that switching cost is higher. So how do we really work in and make it, so we're their platform from the beginning?
And that's interesting because everybody wants their clients to be sticky and you want to have that moat and you're right. Billing systems, that's a big deal because that's at the heart of revenue. I mean, it's everything that you're doing, which is a blessing and a curse. And a blessing in that, once they're in and they're in your ecosystem, they're in your world, then they don't go anywhere. But on the other side, it's a little bit tougher to get them to switch without something really compelling. So what have you done to overcome that, or how do you approach that in the marketplace?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is, the concept of building your own product, building your own SaaS product, that, barrier to entry has diminished significantly to where building an app and having something out there, whether it's via a low-code platform like a Bubble or something else, like we're building a low-code platform, it's going to be easier for idea people to get their product to the market. And so we're really just focused on that increase in supply at that early stage. So we as a company can continue to ride the growth of those founders that we're supporting. Once you get established and you get a couple years in, we're actually, not actively pursuing them as hard. We'll obviously take phone calls and talk to anybody that wants to chat. We find that our best successes are those earlier stage companies that are growing and riding the uptick in their wave of success.
That makes sense. Transitioning from spreadsheets to, a real system.
You're getting to our sales pitch a little bit. The concept of SaaS Logic will be larger than subscription and revenue management at some point. We're getting close to launching a low-code platform called After to coincide to help people build and then monetize. And that is really how do we help people go from spreadsheets to really idea on the back of a napkin to building it to potentially using a spreadsheet to track customers, to all of that happening within one platform that is super simple and easy to use, but can do complex heavy lifting behind the scenes. And that's the hard part, honestly. The hard part is we can do so much. How do you have a computer screen? How do you confine all of that within a user experience that is simple and easy to use and allows people to have that flexibility that is important to them?
Yeah. So what have you seen the biggest challenges or, operational challenges or billing challenges for SaaS companies as they do hit that growth stage?
That's a great question. I think for companies that are growing, their biggest challenges are always, it feels like they're staffing challenges. So when I talk to founders that are hitting that growth curve, I feel very fortunate. The challenges that they're talking to me about aren't subscription and revenue management problems, that they're able to get on SaaS Logic and we're able to take that weight off of their shoulders because they're confident that their customers will get billed correctly every month. And so we work through, because I love chatting with them, other business problems. And I think that's one of our biggest strengths is we want the founder and his development team to work on what's core to them, what makes their product unique and special. And we'll do the heavy lifting on subscription and revenue management and payments.
Yeah, that's big. Subscription revenue management and taxes is something that we've seen a big uptick in over the last few years. You seen that as well? Is that the problem that you guys solve?
We have a partnership. So one of the other things that I think we do really well is, we know where we fit into the RevOps ecosystem. And there are definitely some players we're going after. Like, obviously, we want to compete against the Stripes of the world. But when it comes to the tax space, we have a partnership with Avalara. We love them. They're a great team. They're obviously, in our opinion, best in class when it comes to those complex tax calculations that e-commerce businesses and online businesses have. And so while we do have the ability, an ingrown simple solution for, like, if you only have to collect tax, like I'm in Ohio, we have the ability to add that into anybody you invoice in Ohio at a tax. When it gets to be more complex, we highly recommend folks work with Avalara to create an account with them to handle it. And then we're fully integrated to where our systems work very well together. So that way we can create the invoices with the correct tax amounts based off of what Avalara tells us.
Where do companies go wrong in billing, or what are the big challenges that they have? Go down a path that's difficult to recover from.
I think some of the biggest challenges are founders not being willing to try different pricing models. I think you have to be willing. When you look at product market fit, it isn't just the functionality and features you provide with your product, but are you charging the right value? Because value has its both ends of the equation. You want to maximize how much money you earn, but you also don't want to make it so costly that your customers don't want to buy your service. So I think there is a lot of experimentation around pricing and creating different bundles and models that founders often stumble with because they're so focused on feature A, feature B, feature C, fundraise to angels to our Series A. And they oftentimes don't spend the same amount of time you might do A/B testing on an email campaign with A/B testing on your pricing.
That's a big one. It's easy to get stuck into a specific pricing model or here's what we do, and you don't want to get outside of that.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes that can be one of the things that just unlocks growth. And we did that early on in my SaaS company where everybody is pricing seats, and we did usage-based pricing. And so they're looking at seat costs and like zero. What does that mean? How does that work? And so they had to talk to us. And that was really the goal.
Yeah, we absolutely love usage-based pricing, and we're currently experimenting with a couple different pricing models, one of which is especially for companies that are in that early stage that don't have millions of dollars a year in revenue. Hey, just pay us when you invoice somebody. Like, let's wait until you're collecting money before you pay us. And that really, again, it helps them because younger companies, until you get into the couple $1 million in revenue, cash flow matters. Cash flow always matters. But when you're that small, cash flow matters even more. And so by making sure our system doesn't hurt them in that area, and we actually provide the value up front, and then they can pay us once they're receiving the value from the money from their customers, that's been a tremendously positive sales tool to close that hurdle, because a lot of companies still, cash flow struggles are real. So usage-based end of month billing is a great way to get customer acquisition, especially when you want to establish that long-term relationship. That shows the commitment that we're in it with you guys and that we don't make money until you make money. So I'm glad to hear you also are a big fan of usage-based billing.
Yeah, well, I think it keeps things in alignment because our the goals are aligned between the software company and the end client. When we both do really good at the same time, and if things are not going as well, then we both share that. So we are really in it together. I like that.
And we're experimenting a little bit with at what price does, some customers are actually, once with us, they get to be so big, they've said, hey, we would rather just have a monthly flat fee at this point. And so there is that sort of, again, that experimentation of there is a price point or tipping point where it's better for them just to say, hey, it's $500 a month. That's what it's going to be. And then we get access to those features. And so that's the joy of my job, is having those conversations, with our prospects and with our customers, asking tons of questions and really hearing from the field what they're seeing and thinking. And then tweaking and trying. There's never a bad experiment at Expeed or SaaS Logic. We like to try things, and failure is just an opportunity to learn. I'm sure that's cliche and everybody's heard it, but it's one of our tenets.
Yeah. Well, a term that I heard recently was hybrid billing. Is that something you guys do? And tell me, how does that work?
Yeah, we love the concept of hybrid billing, and there may be different definitions out there. Ours is that blend of that monthly fee with usage-based. Making sure that, again, we want you to think about what's the best way for you to gather the value, and we'll figure out how to capture, the revenue on our side. So, hybrid billing really unlocks that. It allows you to have that standard cash flow coming in from your monthly fee. So it's very predictable. You know that the clients are going to produce X amount of, revenue for us, what we're charging, but then still give that sort of growth lever to where if they do better, they do more, that, we're paired well together. So, and again, I think that there's a specific set of the market, probably in that middle range, that kind of is looking at really enjoying that from using our platform. But being able to offer that to our merchants has unlocked conversations with how do they want to price their products, and given them that flexibility to choose their models.
That's good. Yeah, having that flexibility. And it just goes back to just having the flexibility of the billing system, that whatever you come up with, you can pretty much do. Within that, whether it's seats or hybrid or usage based, and you got some options. You're not locked into a particular way of thinking.
Yeah.
So, and then you talked about the clients being innovative and thinking about things that you hadn't done before. What's the most innovative pricing you've seen?
Oh, tough question. I think it's funny because it's actually probably pretty simple in how you explain it, but it's a hybrid model where we have basically the usage base is very people related, but it's not quite a seats usage. So it's their interactions with the systems, and the way that our merchants implemented it. I'm probably not going to do it justice in describing it this quickly, so I apologize if it doesn't sound eloquent. They have the monthly fee, so they're able to collect from their customers X amount of dollars. But then as the people come in and out, they're actually getting additional charges. And I found that fascinating because, we often think of usage based as API usage, how much data are you storing, API calls, data storage, and some of those other things. And just the concept around interacting outside of those normal usage based things was fascinating to me.
That is.
Yeah.
I love that. You're right there in the center of it all. And so you can see, what people are testing or trying.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it when people say, hey, can you guys do this? Because the answer is always, I hope so. But if not, we're going to try.
I like that. Yeah. So is it pretty easy to run tests? And whether that's, a trial, a free trial, or, a $1 trial, something like that, or, experimenting with some different pricing models, is that pretty easy to accommodate?
Yes, so our system is built to allow you to quickly build out what we call products and plans. And so a product is like the main thing you're selling, and the plan is a different ways you're gold, silver, and bronzing the feature sets within that product. And so we really focus on our user experience to allow for easy creation and replication of those. So you can tweak little bits and pieces. And then depending on how you want to have your customers interact with the subscription revenue management, everything we have has APIs to where you can build it yourself into your system to call back to us to say, hey, let's try this plan or this plan. Or we have the ability to embed a widget so where you can say, let's use the SaaS Logic checkout pages. And then the ability to say, we want to use these on this page and these on the other page. Obviously, programmers are pretty smart guys. They know how to manipulate the systems to accomplish that. And then we do provide a bunch of dashboards and reporting to help display and show to folks how well their products are doing, products and plans are doing, so they can run their business from our dashboard, so to speak, if they want. We also have integrations with QuickBooks, so people can see the results in QuickBooks, which has obviously great, robust accounting, reporting, and whatnot. And we are looking at working with HubSpot and other partners to make sure we have full integrations within those platforms. Again, we know we're part of the RevOps stack. We're not trying to be everything in the RevOps world. So the ability to create integrations with existing platforms that folks want to use is one of our core competencies and key features we offer.
Well, if you're working to leave your mark on the world, then check out my book, Small Fish, Big Pond, Building a World-Class Business That Swims Circles Around Competitors. Small Fish, Big Pond delivers powerful marketing and leadership lessons guaranteed to enhance your marketing message, wrap value around your clients, and guide their buying journey to conclude that your company is the only solution for them. It includes step-by-step frameworks and time-tested growth principles to attract ideal clients, convert them, and then transform them into your brand ambassadors. Pick up the print, ebook, or audio today at smallfishbigpond.com, Amazon, or wherever you buy your books. And remember, all book profits go to charity, always. And that makes sense. And really focusing in and being part of that stack
Yeah.
Focusing in at what you're really good at and the things that most of the other products don't do.
Yeah. Agree.
So as founders are thinking about pricing and going to market, and you work with a lot of early stage, and so they're coming out, moving from spreadsheets to something more robust. How should they be thinking about pricing, or maybe breaking down those packages into the gold,
Yeah.
silver, bronze?
Yeah. No, my advice always to early stage founders is choose two. Like start with two. You want to call it silver and gold. Go ahead. But they're so focused often on so many things. Like a founder's brain is an amazing thing to watch because they're always trying to fundraise. They're always trying to acquire customers. They're always trying to run a dev shop, even if they're non-technical founders, making sure the features are in front of whoever's building their platform for them. And so we want pricing to be almost like an afterthought. We want pricing to be a thing that's taken off their plate. So our advice is always pick what you think people are going to want and then create a second package around it. And then ultimately, when they're out pitching and they're selling to people, they're getting validation on those price points in every conversation they're having. And by having those two different models, it allows them to sit in front of a potential customer and say, hey, here's price A or here's price B, depending on what you want. They're going to get immediate feedback and then be able to decide if they need to tweak those pricing bundles or not. But if you start to get too complex, we've seen folks try to do like 5 different pricing models, 5 different plan types. And it just really gets hard to understand what's working and what's not because there's so much variability between them. So it's super simple. We're like, go A/B test your pricing, create 2 bundles, and then let us handle the rest of it. And then as you're having conversations, constantly ask for validation from your potential customers as to those price points and whether they think what they're paying for would give them the value to make that worthwhile, or if they'd be willing to potentially even pay more. One thing I have noticed is, and this is, I think, especially in Columbus, but outside of Columbus, customers love helping startups. Most customers want to see the startups they're talking with succeed. And I think the most successful startup founders that I've been friends with are fearless in asking for feedback. And they're so open and accepting it, people want to give it to them. So they can easily go up to a customer and be like, hey, I think this is worth, $100 a month. What are your thoughts? Like we're currently priced at $250 a month. Is that something you think you would pay for? And the genuine founders often get great feedback just by being open and vulnerable to hearing that is not worth $100. I wouldn't pay you more than $25 for that. And then they go back and have to rethink, okay, why am I off? Why do I think it's worth 100? They think it's worth 25. Are they not my ICP? Maybe they pitched the wrong person, and so, but being open to hearing the feedback and then making the easy modifications within SaaS Logic are key.
That makes sense. It could be that they're off. It could be the way they positioned it. It could be it's not their ICP. So I think that's really good insight in kind of thinking about that and the pricing, or it really could be that far off.
Yeah. And we've had that with SaaS Logic. We've definitely run into that as well because we're a couple-year-old startup. There's been many conversations where I thought I had budget nailed, in the pre-qual discovery, and then you get into the actual demo and you get to the pricing and they're like, oh, we're not in the same ballpark here. So, I think all companies still run into those issues.
Yeah. So do you use SaaS Logic for your own billing?
Oh, of course. You got to eat your own dog food. Yeah, yeah. I'm insulted you asked, but I'm not. We use it for Expeed as well. So, when we look at Expeed Software as an IT services firm, we have clients that, where the billing is recurring type billing from like almost a retainer standpoint. And so both Expeed and SaaS Logic use SaaS Logic to handle that. We're our best customer and we're also our biggest critic. So it's great to have, the guys that are building it, especially if something goes wrong, you're like, hey man, why is this invoice not right? It's our customer.
Yeah, that's always good. But I'm surprised some of the companies, don't use their own tool for, the specific use case that they're selling for. And it's just
but so as a potential,
what it's all cracked up to be.
I was gonna say, as a customer, wouldn't that kind of, I'd be concerning. Like if it's not good enough for you, why is it good enough? Especially in revenue operations where, the most important thing for a founder is that their customers perceive value in what they do and then pay them for it because nobody really wants to do it for free. So, we take that very serious that, getting the cash to the cash to our merchants is like one of our primary missions.
Yeah. But you said very much engineering led and forward thinking. How do you foster that culture of innovation within the organization and continuously improve product services and stay ahead of the market? It's moving fast.
Yeah. And it's going to sound cheesy, but it's just who our founder is. Raucha Jarla founded us. He's hired a bunch of folks like me. We all think similarly. We all want to push the envelope. We all want to build a best in class tool that, our kids talk about someday. And so by just keeping that big picture vision of who we are today, but where we want to go, it helps drive not only SaaS Logic, but Expeed into sort of that, highly innovative team. We're about 120 people on a couple different continents, India, Philippines, and here in the United States. And so culture matters when you're that big, and getting it right matters. And so I think Rao's done a good job of, allowing us to be creative and try. And again, to repeat the statement I said earlier, we have a culture where failure is just an opportunity to learn. And I think that really allows people to take risks and be innovative within the day-to-day execution of their jobs.
So tell me about like insights into market trends you're seeing, maybe pricing related, maybe RevOps related, or challenges that SaaS businesses are currently facing. It seems like the market is a little bit different over the last year, and how SaaS Logic has helped to address those.
It's a great question again. So I'm going to take a sip of water and pause as I think. When we look at, I'm going to stick with challenges. I'm still relatively new. I've been with SaaS Logic a little over a year now. So, I'm newish to the RevOps space. My kind of general macroeconomic standpoint is I do think companies have a lot of money to spend. And I think that spend is continuing to happen, especially here in the States online. So we haven't necessarily seen that economic dip from our customers' perspective. And so you hear all the news about recession, everything else. Our customers seem to have been doing decently well throughout all of this, and are continuing to grow, and we're getting more businesses interested in our platform. So I often think through, that the economy. How is it that you hear all of these things about recession and the US economy slowing down, but then our indicators are all, well, our user base is growing, their user bases are growing, are we seeing the same trend? So there's a general, I think, distrust and fear in the market as to where the economy is heading, but it's not reflective in SaaS from my perspective. And I'd be interested to know if you're seeing something different. And I haven't quite figured out why that is. Why is it that, gas prices continue to go up and everybody's complaining about the cost of bread, but we're all still investing in not only developing these new tools, which takes venture capital, but then also, their customers have to buy their tool, which we're seeing continued growth. So I don't have a great answer for you, but I find that disconnect interesting. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love your perspective on it. You're also a SaaS expert.
Sure. Yeah, I think it is different, and there's definitely investment going on. There's capital on the sidelines, and it's being invested. I think the investments are more measured. I think that companies are putting them in. They're just not throwing money at companies. Hey, I've got a company, I've got a SaaS company, I've got an AI company here. Have a bucket of money. There's actually a little bit more due diligence now, which is a good thing. There's a focus on actually growing smart, not growth at all costs, which I think was dumb to start with. Fundamentals have always mattered, and we're back to the point where, hey, fundamentals matter. You're supposed to make a profit in business. So
I'm going to agree with that last point. Thank you for bringing it up. And it's one of the things that's always been core to us, which is why I maybe just didn't think about it right out of the gate. But, when you look at revenue metrics from a SaaS business, you can't just look at the vanity metrics. And so we've tried to build out our dashboards that talk about the meat and potatoes of what a successful business is, making sure the founders could quickly log in and see how their individual products and plans are performing across your, the standard metrics, that matter, and not just how many web clicks did I have, how many, and things like that. So I agree. It is good that we're getting back to what is a good business and not what is a cool business. We do see a lot of folks wrapping, these new LLMs and coming out, and I support you all. So I'd love to keep chatting about those. And it will be interesting to see how well those play out over the long period of time. It does seem like that large language model as a tech backend is getting a lot of attention. And there are a lot of people building tools to utilize, either Claude or OpenAI or Grok or whatever it is nowadays.
Yeah, I think that's good. AI certainly has its place. But some of the companies have pivoted, and they've become, a term that I've heard is AI first. And you hear that and you go, wait a second, how about like solving a core problem? And then AI can certainly assist that versus go out and build a bunch of AI and then go looking for a problem that it can solve.
And we've done advanced analytics and data science for years, and what is AI has changed every year for the last 7 years. I don't know if I could define AI that you would agree with, and so that's a fun challenge in normalizing what it means. So when we have conversations with people, we're all on the same page. I think that'll be the fun next couple of years in our space is what is AI? What are large language models? Where do they fit into this product delivery? But I'm going to reiterate your point that you made, because I think it is key, is it's like the what problems are you solving will always be what matters the most, because customers pay for value that make their lives better for some reason. So if you don't have that, if you're not solving that problem for your customer, then they're not going to need your product, then your product's not going to need SaaS Logic. So I love how you phrase that. And I think that is always going to be key. What is the problem?
And it's, so it goes right along with what you said as well, just about, is it a solution that is really valuable, or is it just cool?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really cool solutions out there that's like, wow, that's cool. Would you ever use it? Nope. And I wouldn't pay for it either.
I like using free cool, but I do also agree that, if it's free, then you are the product. And so, what am I giving up from a data privacy standpoint or something to use free? But I'm excited. We talk a lot about how with this concept of what we'll bucket as big AI with large language models and generative AI and artificial general intelligence, we're at a great influx or tipping point in our careers, and 10 years from now will not look like today. That'll be sure. And that'll be the end of my career. And so I'm super excited about, this last little bit of my career and where my kids' careers will be, because I don't think it'll be the same. I think, it'll be highly transformative over the next 5-10 years. What work is, what software is, how software gets developed, how revenue management happens. Let's mark our calendars for 2034 and let's do a recap, the decade in review, me and you.
Hey, that sounds good. And it would be fundamentally different. We may not even recognize in 10 years.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope you and I are sitting on a beach saying, wow, these young kids got it, man.
Yeah, the robots will be bringing drinks while we're sitting on the beach.
Amen. I'm looking forward to that day. I just wanted to mow my lawn, and I know the robots are out there now that'll mow lawns. I just don't trust them yet. I'm looking forward to that. That's like my big splurge purchase probably next year will be the robot lawnmower.
Yeah. A robot with a giant blade. Good idea, bad idea.
That's it. It's a great idea. My kids are old enough that they can avoid it. It's a really bad idea if you got animals that are outside or young children. But if my 14-year-old gets hit by it, life lesson.
Well, one of the things you mentioned was revenue by product. And so tracking it that way, or revenue analysis. And so thinking about that, tracking revenue by cohort, by subscriber churn rates, but by product line as well. So really understanding, what is selling, how is it selling, how are, founders thinking about that as they're putting SaaS Logic into practice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when we look again at the RevOps ecosystem, there are tools out there that are phenomenally better than SaaS Logic when it comes to SaaS metrics. So again, we don't hope to compete with them. I think there's always going to be a space for some of those highly, defined, I'm blanking on the name of the one that I love and I apologize. But their spreadsheet to there's a middle place for a lot of these founders, where they might not have to have a deep cohort analysis that you can break things down and click to drill into. And that's where we're building our dashboarding and our reporting out to fill that gap. And same thing with CRMs. We ultimately want to offer a lightweight CRM. So you can go from like back of the envelope because you're talking to 4 people that to spreadsheet, to us, to a HubSpot. Same things in the financial metrics aspect. We want to make sure people have access to the information, like you said, drilling down at the product or plan level. We do churn analysis and some of the other high level metrics. We don't do cohort analysis yet. But then ultimately, our hope is that they grow so big that they say, hey, John, we love you guys. We want to integrate with this tool over here now because it is the best in class, from a metric standpoint. That would be a huge win for us. And we're also very open to what metrics matter, and our team will add more metrics to our dashboards. But again, we know where our place is in the ecosystem, and we want to make sure, we don't hinder somebody by saying we're the end all be all. And, honestly, we love startups. We want our customers to be successful to where if they outgrow us as an entire platform and say, hey, we're going to go with like a large Oracle ERP implementation because we're a $100 billion company now, we'd be great. See you later. Thanks for the last 10-year ride. So that would be a fun story, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Start with somebody at their startup and then have them be like, we're going with Oracle. Sorry, we're gonna dump you for Oracle.
Yeah. It'd be a great story.
Yeah.
I like that. You really have that stepping stone. It goes from where they don't have really a great tool. They don't need the giant enterprise thing, the cost or the expense or the complexity, but it's really giving them what they need for that stage of business, and which is a pretty wide stage of business.
Yeah,
if it gives them what they need before they have to go to something, complexity kills growth.
Yeah.
And so the last thing you want to do is go and buy this giant enterprise tool to give you some numbers.
We used Salesforce for years, and I don't want to bash Salesforce, but it's too big. it does too much. Being an admin in Salesforce is too hard for a lot of people that are focused on 20 other things to make their business grow. So we've taken that as like, how do we take subscription and revenue management off of a founder's plate so they don't have to worry about any of those things? They can just create their products, create their plans, and then simplify everything to the best that's possible.
I like it.
I hope you're not a Salesforce partner. I apologize if you're a Salesforce partner.
No, we're not. So if you could sum up, subscription management in a single sentence, what would that be?
If I could sum up subscription management in a single sentence, what would that be? I hope the angle I take is okay. And if it's not, I'll try again. But I think when you're looking at subscription management, especially the platforms that you want to deal with, that the fact that SaaS Logic's most important customers aren't ours, they're our merchants' customers, is what matters the most. And that's probably what our top core belief is, that our merchants' customers are our most important users. Because if our merchants' customers aren't happy with our merchants, then our merchants won't be our customers. Way more than a sentence, unless you put a lot of commas and ellipses in there. So
that makes sense. Well, where can people learn more about you and about SaaS Logic online?
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I'm on there every day, even though I'm not a huge poster. So John Sarver is the / John Sarver. You can find me on there. SaaS Logic can be found at saaslogic.io. And then my email address is john.sarver@saaslogic.io, or LinkedIn messaging is a great tool.
Fantastic. We'll make sure to link all of that in the show notes. John, great conversation. Thanks for being on SaaS Fuel.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Jeff. I look forward to our 10-year reunion in April of 2035.
That's
2034.
Right. 2034.
2034.
Thanks. Thanks again, John, for coming on the show and sharing your insights and resources. You can learn more about John and SaaS Logic at saaslogic.io. And be sure to check him out on social as well. As always, all links, highlights, resources, and full show notes are available at saasfuel.com. And of course, on our YouTube channel as well. Full episodes, videos, shorts, training, and more. If you want to start a meaningful conversation with a friend, share this episode with them and dive into a deep discussion. Thought leaders share. And everyone who shares this week gets a masterpiece markup calculator. It's a sophisticated tool that helps you price your SaaS-like artwork, analyzing its style, medium, and emotional or economic impact. Join us next Tuesday, where our founder is John Miller, founder of Scribewise. He is revolutionizing B2B marketing with a bold approach that champions courage over conformity. If you want to add some boldness to make your marketing stand out, this is definitely an episode for you. And then next week on our SaaS Fuel Expert Series, we have Janie Smith, author of Creating Competitive Advantage and Relevant Selling. She'll be here to help you harness your unique strengths and thrive in competitive markets. Anybody have competitors out there? This is going to be a good one for you. I will see you next time. And as always, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to SaaS Fuel. Full show notes for each episode, which includes a summary, key takeaways, quotes, and any resources mentioned, are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the content and getting value from these episodes, please leave us a rating and review at ratethispodcast.com/SaaSfuel. We'll be sure to read these out on future episodes.